Hi traders, I wanted to do a recap for you of some of the trading for the 6th of August here, and pretty good. We're going to actually just focus on the European morning today. I want to show you both EU and also a little bit of the Euro, Japanese yen as well, just to give you an idea, how the elite range bar trading system can be used in other pairs as well. So just for the morning, things were pretty great. 4 trades, 3 wins, 1 loss, and we'll just run through basically what I did. Took my first trade here, kind of in the late Frankfurt hour, getting close to London Open, and maybe something I would normally not take as it's kind of further on in the move. But I was going with the trend, and when you're going with the trend, you can generally take things a little bit more aggressively. So I went for this one, and it did make a London Open move, but not quite as good of a move as I was hoping for, and it started to come back. And basically I did let that come back. I told myself I wasn't going to let it be more than about a 3 or maybe a 4 pip loss at most, so wouldn't allow the full bar loss of 5 to 6 pips. But it did come back into this area, which held. And so I ended up getting some alright pips on it when it did break lower, and I eventually got out here when it kind of double bottomed for 13 pips. And you can see there's also these thumbs up here or other opportunities where you could have potentially taken a variation of a type 1 trending short. And we have rules for those because they're not your typical type 1 trades that we use. But you could have taken them and could have gotten a few pips on those, but I just held into the one I had. Once I got out there, I did try a Type 3, which is a counter trend long, based on some other factors that I saw, some things that aren't on these charts, and it fit our clearly defined rules for what a Type 3 is, and so I took that entry. With the counter trend trades, you really want them to take off pretty much immediately in your direction. If they don't, you generally don't want to take a full loss on them, because after all, you are fighting the trend. And so that makes them more of an intermediate to advanced trade when you take those. And so in this case, I gave it a couple attempts, well, a few attempts to actually push higher, and when it didn't, I finally did get out here. I ended up taking a 4 pip loss, which was a 3 pip loss plus 1 pip for spread. So, not too bad a hit. We keep our losses very small if at all possible. And from there, things did take a little bit before they ended up making their next move. Unfortunately, wasn't able to catch this one. Didn't fit any of our criteria, and that's going to be the case. You don't catch every single move. We trade the range bar 4 charts as well. And so there is the possibility that you gotta catch a few that you wouldn't catch on the range bar 3, but that is one that we missed, this move down. But then another type 3 opportunity came up here, another counter trend opportunity. Took that one long just before the 50, and this is the type of thing we want to see with these counter trend trades, where it just takes off. Because it was going pretty strongly, wasn't one that you want to exit very quickly, allow the first pullback, and you'd hope to see at least this high. But ideally, this level, which we used before, is what we'd be aiming for. And we hit that, and it was an excellent place for an exit. Took the 20 pips right there as soon as it bounced off of that, and did come back quite a bit further. You could have held on and actually had a little bit more than what I ended up getting, but it was pretty clear that this was a level where things were going to reject. So taking the pips there is definitely not a bad idea. And from there, we came down. There wasn't any other counter trend sort of opportunity or range opportunity to come back to the downside for us. And then in here, we just had kind of the London lunch, which is not something which I usually trade. So that's why the thumbs down here. Potential opportunity, but not something I would want given the time of day. Because we rarely do see kind of trending moves during this time of day, but we do see range trades quite often, even some counter trend trades. And we've seen quite a few before the New York Open 1 recently. It's something that a lot of times in normal markets, things wait until that New York Open 1 to happen. And we can see here that actually that stopped the move. But we've had some starting up a little bit earlier. So you want to be ready for those based on what the market's been doing. and it provided a nice 2 dB setup, which is another one of our defined setups here. And with the short-term momentum and everything, so we went long there, and that was a really good one where it just basically took off. First opportunity to exit was probably up in here. I decided not to take that one and give it a little bit more time because I was looking for this New York Open 1 and seeing what would happen at that point, seeing if it would push higher, and it did, but then it started to come down pretty hard. And took the pips there for 31 pips, which is pretty solid. So just for that morning there on EU, 60 pips, 4 trades, 3 wins, 1 loss, and keeping the losses, very small. It's an excellent morning. And I also just wanted to quickly show, just on the euro yen here, just to give you an idea of what other things that can be traded. There's opportunities all the time with elite range bar trading system, with Aussie USD, euro yen, other pairs, and you can be trading multiple pairs at the same time, especially when you have a little bit of experience. You can have on the same screen or multiple screens having these different pairs running. So you can see that these were valid opportunities that could be taken here. Some shorts that worked out really well, where basically you had up to 22 pips available on those, even more if you were willing to go through one of the bigger pullbacks where you could potentially, if you held, had 35 pips available. There was a counter trend opportunity here that gave you up to, pretty much 30 pips again available. And this was same time as our other EU trade. Could have taken this instead of the EU trade, which I took, and had 35 pips available, whereas I basically got 31. So there's other opportunities available every day with these other pairs, and I haven't been showing them much. I've been mostly just focusing on EU, but I did want to give you an idea of some other things that can be done. And there are people out there, there's traders who use this system that kind of reduce the risk per trade, but then they spread it out on multiple pairs. So you can definitely do that. You can take 2 pairs at the same time and just spread your risk in half for each trade. I mostly like to just focus on EU alone, and then just maybe one other pair to take some trades with, maybe about 1 in 5 trades on another pair, whatever is kind of moving that day or that week. But just EU tends to give you more than enough to have excellent results, as you can see here just from the morning trading alone. So I hope you liked the video, and you can leave a comment if you want. And I'll do some more of these in the upcoming week